time to open it up. Welcome to Budeshi. It happens every Friday, 8 to 8:30 here on the talk station of the nation. Well, guess what? The 20th of September is known as the International Right to Know. Yes, it is a right to know what's happening with the government, procurement, and contracting processes. It's a right. If it's the public fisc, then the public needs to know. And the PPDC, the Public and Private Development Center, every year comes out with its Freedom of Information Compliance Rankings. And today, with us in the studio, we have Gift Omoididia and Priscilla Ogigi as they tell us what's happening and how things are going and what to expect next month on the 28th. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
You guys look really colorful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cursing. Good morning.
Yes.
It's all good. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, colleagues.
Thanks.
All right.
All right. So, first of all, let's start off with why do you guys do these rankings in the first place, and why is it important to know exactly what's happening and have this freedom of information?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So, over the years, we've been using freedom of information requests to ask ministries, departments, and agencies for information that has to do with their procurement-related information. So information that has to be their procurement plans, procurement processes, capital expenditure, and it's our right to know. It's public funds spent on public projects. So we can't underestimate the importance of having information, and if information at our disposal is limited, we can't engage. Engagement is also limited. So PPDC took it upon ourselves and we started these rankings in 2013. We started with 13 agencies. In 2014, we ranked 67 agencies. In 2015, we ranked 113 agencies, and in 2016 we ranked 131 agencies. So over the years we just try to expand and broaden our scope, reach out to as many agencies, ministries, and departments out there just to check that they are complying with the act, which says that information regarding your procurement processes ought to be proactively disclosed.
Okay, so in all these years that you've been ranking, just what are some of your discoveries? Has it been good or has it been like not so good? Because like you said, checking the compliance, just how compliant have these guys been, and do you think this ranking has in any way put them up on their toes, knowing fully well that look, this sort of thing comes up, and so look, we have to adjust?
Well, certainly, to be honest, we started from where we had no law to a situation where a law was passed, which gives us the right to ask for these informations. And over the years, we have seen that ministries, departments, and agencies are becoming more responsive to our request for information. We've partnered with a lot of them. We've done countless number of FOI trainings, because some people see our request and they're like, oh, what is this? I need to get more insight on that. Some reach out to us, and we're very glad to talk them through it, have a couple of trainings with them, let them understand the importance of responding to FOI acts. The law says you should respond within 7 days or ask for an extension. And over the years, we have seen more agencies come on board. Last year, for the first time, we saw an agency score all greens, and that was wonderful for us. All greens meant that the information we requested was proactively disclosed already on their FOI platform, so we didn't have to make a request to them, and all the information we wanted, we found on their FOI portal. So that is, for us, that was a win-win, and we're looking at a situation where more agencies, more departments, more ministries would, toe this line, and that's what we've seen over the years.
Priscilla, this year, building up to the 2017 International Right to Know Day, once again, you've done your rankings. Can you take us through the process and how it's been so far?
Well, it's been good, and sometimes it's a bit bad, because yeah, sometimes you get to their office and the procurement director can tell you, please, I have a lot of paperwork to do right now. I can't deal with your FOI letter. Please hold on. I'll see you later. I'll come another day. And when you come back to check for another time, they'll tell you, oh, sorry, he's not on seat, you have to go and come back again. So we keep going and coming. But there are some of these MDAs that they are proactive. When they get our letters, they write us back and say, okay, please, can you give me some time? Let me get back to you. And within this time frame, they always make sure that they respond to us.
Okay, so we have a bit of both.
Yes.
Some hoard the information, some let it go. I think one of the interesting things is that if this is information that these MDAs work with every day, it should be readily available on their fingertips.
Yes.
Why do you think we don't see that? Not even proactive disclosure, but just responses to requests. How come we don't see that sometimes?
Well, some of these MDAs, they don't have an FOI unit, because sometimes when we take our letters to them, they keep saying, oh, I don't understand what FOI is all about.
Wow.
And when you now explain to them, they'll be like, okay, I think because of this, we have to set up a unit for FOI because we don't have legal. Like there's one MDA I went to, they said they don't have any FOI department. So what they want to do is they sent my letter back to media. It's media that is responding to me. And like, how can media respond to me? But these are MDAs that sometimes for them to respond to your letter, they will want to ask questions and they will ask you to come back and explain to them what FOI is all about. And when you do that, sometimes you get your response, sometimes you don't. So we still have to keep following up.
All right. So, looking at today's topic and the focus for this morning, highlighting the FOI ranking process, maybe you might want to take us through the process, Gift.
Okay, so at the beginning of every year, we send out our FOI request, and our FOI requests would typically ask for list of contracts awarded the previous year, capital warrant releases you got for the previous year as well, and procurement plan for the year in question, the budgeting year in question. So we do that, hopefully waiting to get responses from the agencies. After the law says 7 days, but we do give them more than 7 days. We do send out reminders as well. Hello, you haven't responded to our previous letter, I would like to hear from you regarding that, and they respond to us. Then we start ranking. Our ranking are based on 3 benchmarks, like I said earlier. So first of all, we have proactive disclosure. Proactive disclosure means it should be on your website, it should be on your notice board, it should be a pamphlet, it should be on your annual report. It should be proactively disclosed somewhere. I shouldn't have to ask for it online, offline, and all of that. Then the second benchmark is the responsiveness to a request, and that means how long does it take you to respond to a request. Are you complying with the act? The act says 7 days, or you can request for another 7 days extension. So how are you complying in terms of the number of days it takes you to respond? Then the third benchmark for us is your level of disclosure. When you disclose, do you fully disclose or do you partially disclose? Because we have situations where we send out letters to ministries, departmental agencies, and you get a response the next day, and guess what? Their response is, we're working on it, and they perpetually work on it. So for that person, you're not going to rank as full disclosure. That is a no disclosure. You might get a green for responding within 7 days, but in terms of disclosure, you're getting a red.
In looking at the FOI rankings in the past, how have MDAs responded or received these rankings? Has there been applause, gasps of trepidation, or how do you think MDAs have received the rankings, those that perform good or bad?
Well, gradually it is beginning to sink in that PPDC will continue to do the rankings year in, year out. So MDAs are really trying to sit up in terms of responding to our request. Although on the 28th, when they come to the event and they see their rankings, most of them are not happy, but you had from January to September, to respond. There's absolutely no excuse in the first place why the information shouldn't be proactively disclosed.
But are they aware of these benchmarks, so that they can probably, up their game in terms of the disclosure, the proactiveness?
Certainly, they are aware. Most of them have, there's a legal department. Most of them are now having the FOI desk. So the FOI officers are aware, the legal department, they know of the act. They've read it, they understand it. So they understand they know what it is for them to meet up with their own end of the bargain, and it's for you to respond within time and disclose information. Like I said, we ask for procurement related information, capital warrant releases, your procurement plans, what you did with the public's money in the course of the year. Those kind of information is what we ask for. So they are very much aware in our opinion.
Yeah, much as you guys don't normally let the cat out of the bag, until the 28th of September every year. But like, how many MDAs are you ranking this year?
We're ranking,
because it seems like every year more and
every
more.
year we try to expand
Yes.
our reach and reach out to more, advocate more, sensitize more agencies. And for this year we're ranking over 165.
165.
Yes.
Yeah, we have more than 500 MDAs. I think
Well,
you're
technically
getting there.
we have over 700.
Over 700.
Some places would say we have over 800. So yes.
So it's
All
a
right.
gradual process.
Yeah, and the theme this year is open it to fix it.
Yes. We couldn't close without saying that. We have
Open it to fix it.
We have come to the realization that you need to open it for us to fix it. I mean, it's in government's best interest that citizens can monitor their performance. If I cannot say this is what my government is doing for me, if I am my own government, then there is an issue. So our campaign this year is we want everybody to sit up, we want everybody to open up, and collectively we will fix it.
I'm reminded of something the chair of your board said at last year's rankings release. He talked about there had been this erroneous, or rather at the time, lots of people didn't know it was erroneous, for the second Niger Bridge. There had been calls for the Jonathan administration to proactively disclose the procurement and contracting processes. That didn't happen. And then at some point there was this release that said that administration paid $700 million just for consultation fees. And then the government started to scramble to say, no, that's not true. Okay, this is actually how much we spent and everything. So I think the point bears making that when governments, you just use the phrase that it's in everybody's interest. It's not just for citizens, but also the government, so that they can protect themselves from fallacious statements that are put out there by whoever.
I mean, why wait for us to say what is not or what we think it is for you to actually say, oh, dear Nigerians, this is how much we spent, and this is how, most importantly, this is how we spent it for your own benefit.
Yeah. I also know that part of this particular procedural process that you guys carry out, sometimes you have a bit of stiff, I don't know what to call it, resistance, especially as it has to do with security outfits, based on the nature of what they do and classified information and stuff like that. But how's that going along, and basically what do you hope to even achieve this year with them? Are there more bodies being incorporated into the whole process?
Okay, for the rankings, we always security sector, like you said, it's very delicate. So we don't rank them with the general ministries, departments, and agencies. So we actually do have a separate rankings for security sector agencies. However, it's within the same parameters, within the same benchmarks. And our request to them is, like I've always said, always procurement related. We don't want to know what you're doing with the arms and ammunition you bought and who you're deploying. No, we just want to know about your procurement processes. And the Act adequately covers this. If you send out a request to a security sector agency, they need to find out, is it in the public's interest that we release this information? And if the public's interest outweighs every other factor, then you should go out to release it. We've had very little progress over time regarding disclosure within the security sector, but we're still advocating, we're still talking about it, and we plan to continue talking about it, because we need to know how much is being spent in the security sector, especially with everything that is going around right now.
Priscilla, you had spoken earlier about the processes and how it had been received by this. Would you say that the greater number of MDAs actually have FOI units, or more do not have FOI units?
I think a greater number are beginning to have.
Okay.
Before they didn't have, but now they're beginning to have an FOI unit. Most of them have legal departments as well.
Okay, pretty interesting. And it's interesting that you had said something that some MDAs would say, well, we didn't even know we're supposed to have an FOI unit. And you wonder how an act of the federal government is unknown to
An agency.
an
of the federal
agency.
government.
Can I quickly chip in an act that supersedes every other act?
Yes.
So, like the elder brother of this act is actually the Constitution of the
Constitution.
Federal Republic. So,
Yeah.
the Official Secrecy Act, the Civil Service Rules, they're way below the FOI Act. So,
Pretty interesting. All right. We'd like to find out if you have questions or want to join the conversation as we talk with the PPDC as they get ready for highlighting the FOI ranking processes in getting ready for the International Right to Know Day when they come out with their FOI Compliance Rankings. It's a right to know. It's not just a privilege. It's not something that is done as a favor. 094600-951. 0809 5974869. That's 0809 5974869. Or you can send us a WhatsApp message 080999
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Mr. Obi.
Okay, welcome.
I'm calling you from Etama.
We're listening.
Yeah, so I'm just interested in knowing how have you guys funded the PPDC guys, one? And secondly, is there a way to sort of correlate the proactiveness of FOI and all that with the performance of this MBA? In other words, you know, if the ranking of these MBAs is good, can it be correlated with their general performance in their statutory, roles in government?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll hit you up. When are they get to Namon?
So, like we all know, we are a not-for-profit organization. We are registered in Nigeria, limited by guarantee, and we are funded by development partners.
Okay. And he was talking about how applicable it is to the processes of the MDAs.
And also, I think the performance is something like that.
Yeah,
You know,
the
correlating the whole process with the performance of the MDs in question.
So, when you have a good ranking, if an MDA ranks pretty good, is it some way applicable to how they perform generally as an MDA? Do you see that correlation?
Well, to be honest, I think it's half and half, because the fact that you're disclosing public information, you're disclosing information that ought to be publicly disclosed already. It really doesn't mean that, you know, those contracts are contracted to the right persons, or the jobs are they're executed to, you know, to the specifications of the project.
Yeah.
Again, this is where Budeshi comes in for us. Budeshi enables us, so the information we get from the ministries, departments, and agencies, we feed it into our open contracting platform, Budeshi, and we monitor performance of these projects. So we can only say for an agency that we have monitored the performance of the projects. We can only use their rankings to say, okay, there is,
You've done
you know,
well in terms of this, not general performance, right?
sorry?
As in, maybe you can use that to say, well, you've done well
In terms of, you know, execution of your projects,
Projects,
but
yeah.
we can't really tie it to, you know, general performance.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Don't feel my brother.
Good morning. Welcome to Nigeria Info.
Yeah, good morning to us and morning to your guests there. Abu is speaking.
Welcome.
Yes, it's good to know that there's an organization that is actually championing this. But the question I want to ask is this, because from the report so far, I've got to know that there are some of these NGOs that are not responding. What are they doing about it? Is there a penalty? Is there something that they need to like do as a follow-up to make sure that these organizations actually comply with them and be open, or they will just find out and just keep their results to themselves? Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So any penalty for people who don't respond?
Rap on the knuckles, sit in the corner.
When we don't get a response, we head to the courts. And in Nigeria,
You've done that.
we've done that we are doing that. Like, it's, you know, now a part of us, because at times it takes for you to, you know, put some kind of forceful measure for people to respond. And over time, we've seen how that has helped us. From fighting, we've become friends with some of these people.
Yeah.
My brother, my sister, let's settle out of court. This is the information you wanted. So we just head straight to the court. The law allows for that. The act allows for that, and we very much use that tool.
And it reminds me, just what I was going to highlight that. Last year, again, the FOI rankings results, one of the directors of one of those agencies you had taken to court came out to talk about their experience and how, even though you had to twist their arms, they eventually gave the information.
And I think they had a good ranking or something.
And yes, they improved.
They improved. Okay. They improved.
They did improve.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, wonderful morning to you.
Yes, you're welcome. What's your name?
Yeah, Tony. I'm
Right.
calling you from Kwale this morning.
Yeah, we're listening. Go on.
Yeah, well, it's a wonderful thing, and what I actually wanted to say, I think she said part of it, as for the monitoring, because I have an experience where a federal government contract was given to a shoemaking company, as in, something like a cleaning job or a security job, given to someone who is a shoe cobbler in the UK. And it's something I have facts and figures about. So, I'm particularly talking about Nigerian Railway Corporation, as in this Abuja Kaduna rail. So, and it's something you baffles you when you get to hear things like that a shoemaker, just an individual in the UK, got a contract to clean or to do security in the federal government, and this over something over 100 million work every I don't know. So please, it's a good work going, and please maybe you can socialize the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Wow, that's an interesting one. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Budeshi.
Thank you. My name is Arnold Safachoro. I'm calling from Suleja.
We're listening.
Very interesting discussion. I appreciate your guest. But I have two questions. One, the information and the FOI that we're talking about. Most organizations have FOI desk when they have the PR departments or units. Also, the information arm of the organization that are supposed to be giving out some of this information or responding to the inquiries of this nature. That is one. Then the second issue is, now the development partners you talked about that are funding your activities, what is the benefit of what you are doing to the development partners? Or are you simply just gathering intelligence and giving them intelligence about what is happening in our own country? So that at the end of the day, they will now begin to have issues and have another way of definitely getting back the money they are funding your activities with. These are the two issues I want you to actually respond.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do stay tuned. So first of all, must every MDA have an FOI desk, or can the media department?
Well, the way we see it, having an FOI desk will just facilitate response for you to meet up with the 7 days as stipulated by the Act. Again, it could be your legal desk who's responding or your PR, but just get out the information as soon as you can within the time stipulated by the Act. Then the second question was about the funding partners. Now, the Act is representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Freedom of Information Act for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, all we have to do as citizens is to use the Act to request for information that ought to be proactively disclosed, information regarding our procurement processes. So I beg to differ on gathering of sensitive information. This information affects me, you, and him as a citizen. So they want a situation where we emulate. We're always looking up to the Western world, and we have enabling tools. We have the Procurement Act, we have the FOI Act, and they just want us to use it to request to know the citizens, to hold the government accountable, and that's what we're doing.
All right. Let's see if we can take one last phone call.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Henry.
Welcome, Henry.
Yes, I thank the guests for the work they have been doing. Recently, we met them at a forum on budgeting, health budgeting tracking in the health sector. Let me quickly say that CSOs are just catalysts for development. The real power, they're just waking up the people, to do what the people should do. They're standing in the gap. Unfortunately, the people are not taking over. They are not being woken up as fast as it is expected. It is the people that should know that, this health center has been put in the budget for us. Who is the contractor that this project was awarded to? And look for him to make sure that it was executed as prescribed in the budget. The people are not doing that. The CSOs have been seen as meddlesome interlopers. That's very unfortunate. Troublemakers. People who want to bring down their sons and daughters in government. It's not supposed to be so. The people still prefer to eat the crumbs that fall off the table. So, my brother, my sister, media men, CSOs, keep on. The real task is in waking the people up so that they will ask questions, so that they're able to change people who have not done well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deeply appreciate that. And I was going to dovetail into that question. Why are you telling us all this? Why are you telling the people? And what can citizens do with this information right now? What do you want citizens to do with the information you're disseminating?
Well, for PPDC, our aim is to get citizens involved in governance, and we want citizens to be involved, to take their role, to play their part as regarding procurement processes. A former Attorney General of this country said 80% of corruption cases come from public procurement. So you can imagine if the government knows that the citizens are awake, we are watching, they would do like they ought to, they would do right by us and right by their consciences as well. So we just want a situation where citizens are involved, are actively involved, taking up their role. Engage your community, engage your representatives. Don't leave it till election year. Don't allow them make promises that never blossoms. From when you get information, timely information, use it and engage within your own level. There's social media, there's all sorts of ways that you can, start the conversation and keep the conversation alive. You would think no one is listening, but trust me, they are listening.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Gift Omoidedia and Priscilla Ogege for making it out here. And we'll see you again before the 20th of September, but I can't wait.
Thank you for having us. And before we go, I just wanted to quickly add for listeners out there, you can follow us on Twitter. It's ppmonitor.ng, ppmonitorng. You can follow us on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/procurementmonitor. There would also be a live feed on the 28th of September. So just follow us on all our handles and be part of the conversation as well.
Indeed.
Thank you.
All right, so open it to
fix it. Thanks, Sophie.
Thank you very much.